Good afternoon, and welcome to the press conference on corn prices and food prices. I'm Dwayne Siekman, Executive Director of the Ohio Corn Growers Association. We'll give a brief discussion about the impact corn prices have had on food prices and where the situation is today in terms of the decrease in corn prices by more than half. With me this afternoon is Mark Bohr, Poet Biorefining, Lipstick, and Growth Energy, and Mike Wagner, Executive Director of the Buckeye Renewable Fuels Association. This past year started off with many claims that the ethanol industry was going to take corn and divert it from food and move it to fuel. And over a period of time, we've seen that is simply not true. We exported the largest amount of corn in the history of the United States, more corn and distillers grain with the livestock and poultry than ever before. Ethanol production increased as well, and yet we increased the surplus of corn throughout the United States and throughout the world. Following that, we had a lot of discussion about ethanol and corn being the sole reason for food prices increasing at dramatic levels. It is true that commodity prices increased, corn, soybeans, wheat, as well as energy costs. And over time, we showed that energy had a bigger role in advancing food prices than anything else in the marketplace today. As we go through this slide, we're going to talk about what about food prices today. As I said, many claim corn price was the sole reason for food prices increase in the United States. Back on August 7th, Scott Faber of the Grocery Manufacturers Association commented, "The Bush administration has missed a chance to immediately reduce food prices and, more importantly, to avoid the certainty of much higher food prices in 2009. Today, November 24th, the price of corn has dropped to more than half its high point this past summer. And the question we're asking is, where is the drop in food prices?" This graphically depicts the three top commodities in the state of Ohio. The price of corn at its peak was $7.88 a bushel. Today, $3.35 a bushel. Wheat, $12.80. Today, the cash price for wheat, Ohio-grown wheat, is $3.34, a decrease of over $9 a bushel. Soybeans, $16.31, and now $8.78. All the time, food companies are claiming corn price, soybean price, wheat price, and ethanol the chief result of rising food prices. In a sense, they had to raise their prices to match these growing input costs. But as the price of these commodities plummet, as well as oil and gas, natural gas, we see quite the reversal. Prices are not coming down, but profits of food companies continue to go to levels that no other industry is seeing in the United States today. Thankfully, the media is catching on, researchers are catching on, academia is catching on, politicians are catching on. Food companies keep prices high even as commodity costs are tumbling. Grocers are finding food prices hard to swallow. Keep in mind the Grocery Manufacturers Association are not the grocery stores or the food retailers, they're the producers of food around the country. This is just another graphic look at corn prices, wheat prices plummeting, but consumer prices are rising. And as we approach the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, other holidays, it's imperative with budgets decreasing that food prices need to start coming down. The strain on consumers' food budgets are escalating for no reason at all, and we're asking, who are they going to blame now? It's sad they haven't come to this conclusion, but we thankfully have seen retailers, grocery store chains across the country starting to lower their prices and rejecting the increases that are being placed upon them. Kraft Chief Executive Irene Rosenfeld declined to comment on relations with retailers, but indicated the company might have to ease off price increases. We're saying we hope they follow through with that statement. Kraft's revenue rose, Kellogg's sales climbed, and the chief executive of Walmart Stores Division said declining oil prices should affect the price of store items. Again, we're asking them, we should see that soon. And finally, two other pieces. Addressing the biofuels critics. A whole army of biofuel critics may have been wrong. Contrary to what they said, it is now becoming clear that green fuels like ethanol and biodiesel have played virtually no role in the recent global surge in food prices. The spectacular trends in agricultural commodity markets prove it. And from Reuters, heavy demand for corn from ethanol makers was seen as a key driver of corn futures to record record highs in June. But since then, the sharp decline of corn, along with other commodities, shows that belief was a mistake. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Mark to give a perspective from Ohio's ethanol industry.
First of all, let me thank Dwayne, the Ohio Corn Growers Association, and Mike from Buckeye Renewable Fuels Association to let me attend here today at this press conference and help set the record straight on rising food prices. Growth Energy, who I represent, is a new national organization that's dedicated to promoting ethanol in a proactive manner. One of our primary goals is to clear up the misconceptions put out by the Grocery Manufacturers Association and its allies that corn and ethanol are responsible for the high prices of food. This is simply not true. The price of corn has dropped by half in the past year, and oil is down as well, yet food prices continue to rise. For example, Nestle, the world's largest food company, raised its prices 8% from January to June 2008. Yet has announced it has no plans to lower their prices, even though key commodities have decreased dramatically. Who keeps pushing this myth that corn producers are responsible for increased prices? The Grocery Manufacturers Association. Last Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture Secretary Ed Schaefer was asked about the tax made on ethanol and corn from the grocers. His response was, "I just think that they are totally off base. They are building positions that I don't understand, and they're trying to justify the increased costs and increased profits that they're making at the expense of another industry. That just isn't appropriate." We couldn't agree more. Growth Energy could not agree more. Several weeks ago, we called on Big Food to lower their prices in time for the holiday season. Now, 13 days later, food prices are still as high as ever. I encourage everyone to go to www.growthenergy.org for more facts on the issue and read an in-depth policy brief on the topic that we discussed this week. Thank you.